Shalom. So this video is going to be about pre-tribulation rapture and the falseness in it. Before we begin, we want to give all praises and power and glory and thanks to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, the prophets, the apostles, the wise men, our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are out here pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and freedom to do so, more so than ever. To them we say Shalom, Kwam Yasharala. And to begin with, I'm going to jump off into Jeremiah 16 and 19. So I get the page down. All right, here we go. 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. I'm going to just read 20. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? 21. Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh. So what he's saying is the Gentiles he's mentioning about are the ones who not in the truth, the 2/3, especially those religious ones. When they understand that, that JC word they call upon is not real, hence 20 when it says, shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods. At 21, he's gonna let them know that, only Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai can save them, none other. So they're going to realize 19 when all this truth is coming out and all these files. And of course, in the end, when they realize there is no there is no rapture. There is nothing. All right. So to jump from that one, I'm going to jump into 1 Corinthians and I'll read chapter 15, verses 44 through 49. And it says, it is
51.
sown. Huh?
Well, you're doing 51, right? To 51? You
want me to read the 51?
Yeah, read the 51.
All right. 44. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. 45. So it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not which is... howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earthy. The second man is of Yahweh from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of earthy, we shall also bear the image of heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all asleep, but we shall all be changed. So what he's talking about is there's a division between the spiritual body and, an earthly body. All right, so just like how people have to understand, I'm going to use Yahweh Shai as a I don't want to confuse them. So just like how Yahweh Shai, these are vessels. Your body is nothing but a vessel, but your spirit, it changes. Just like there's no new thing under the sun. So my spirit is not new. Perry's spirit not new. Nobody's spirit is new. So he's just letting you know there's a difference between the spiritual body and the earthly body. And for people to understand, you have to understand the difference between the two. Just like when they tell you all the prophets are still here. Well, people are thinking it in a carnal way and things like that. But you have to think of it in like a spiritual way. Your spirit doesn't, doesn't get destroyed. Unless Yahweh tells it to. Just like the same people that pierced the Hamashiach are still here. Hopefully that's not confusing for folks. But I'm going to let Brother Paris pick off from there.
All right, I'm gonna start at Galatians chapter 1. I'm gonna read verses 6 to 10. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him. They called you into grace of Christ, unto an, another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and will pervert the gospel of Christ. So just like we talked about before, there are some people that they're saying you are not so removed from him, basically saying the time of Christ wasn't so long ago. They're saying how are you falling so off? How are you falling so far off from the true doctrine? A lot of people these days have fell off from the real true doctrine. A lot of people, they don't even read the Bible, they don't even read the book really. They just quote certain verses what they feel like, and that's what he's talking about. He's saying that you be in trouble because people have perverted the gospel of Christ. Allah, they have inserted the rapture doctrine, which that's not true, which we're getting to the bottom of that right now. And that's what he's speaking of. He's talking about people that are coming in and have corrupted the perverted gospel of Christ. And all right, verse 8. But though we, an angel from heaven, preach, and any other gospel to you, that which have you preached unto you, let him be accursed. So basically, 8 is saying, so if anybody come up talking about that an angel came and preached another doctrine, contradicting to what's here, then it's a curse to you. So anybody speaking a contradiction to the Bible, a curse would be them. So anybody speaking about the rapture, because you can't find a Bible verse about it, then a curse would be to you. Any false doctrine, the false Virgin Mary doctrine, any doctrine, a curse would be to you. Verse 9, and when he said before, so say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you, that you should receive and let it be accursed. And 10, for I do not persuade men or Yahweh, or do I speak to please men? For if I yet please men, should I not be the servant of Christ? So basically, that's going back to you can't serve two masters. And what he's talking about right there, he's saying, so if you live to persuade or to garner the ear of men, you can't be living for Yahweh. You can't be living the way Christ or Yahweh Shah told us to live. He's saying you can't live both ways, just like Brother Dan was talking about. You can't you can't live just in only a carnal way, serving things carnal. You can't live like that.
Yeah, you can't please the flesh and the spirit. It's not gonna work.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. Those two cannot get mixed up like that. And now I'm gonna jump to Matthew 24. I'm gonna do verses 11 through 15. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Just like today, we have all these different denominations of quote unquote Christianity. They all have their different offshoots. You have Baptist, you have Catholic, you have all these different things. And that's what he's talking about. You have all these different prophets that came out to deceive. And in the video before and after, I have some pictures about and dates of these different guys that started different doctrines when they started them. You'll come to find out that a lot of these quote unquote denominations didn't start no longer than 100, 200 years ago. Verse 12, and because of the iniquity shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So basically what he's saying is, he said iniquity is everywhere, and it's going to encompass many people, most people, because that's just how the world is. The world loves wickedness more than they love doing righteousness. And he's saying that the love of many shall wax cold. He's saying that like righteousness and morality wax cold, just like we have today. Like you have people that make all types of money all day, every day, but they can't, give a homeless person a sandwich or, spare a couple people some dollars. Like your heart wax cold, just like simple morality, the simple way of living. Like people would just go cold from that. So like you see certain Jakes when you go in the hood, instead of loving your brother, you out here trying to either mug him down, look at him, or figure out what you're trying to take from the brother. That's what he's talking about. And then verse 13 saying, he that endures to the end shall be saved. So he's saying just like, and I was talking to a brother earlier about this, like it's a battle. We go out here every day that you're going to deal with somebody that's wicked or that's unrighteous. Every day we go outside our homes. We already know this is coming. And that's what we're saying. We that endure, because this is enduring. It's enduring for your mind, your body, your soul. Because every time you go out there dealing with these folks, it takes a little bit out of you, man.
Oh, just like, and when people like, I'm saved. Saved from what? It haven't happened yet.
Nah, man, we ain't saved yet. That's what we praying for. That's what we hope for. That's what John 4:22 is talking about. But I'm gonna jump to 14. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So again, the gospel has to be preached. So we're just talking about in 14. It's talking about the true gospel. We're just talking about
Yeah, hold on
Yahweh.
real quick. It's like you keep going in and out. All right, there we go. Repeat that again.
We're talking about the
14.
14. And this gospel is the kingdom and shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So basically, talking about the truth, which you're preaching every day. We're talking about every day. It shall be preached among the world, and unto the heathens and unto Jake. And basically, like, people gotta understand that that's why we come on here every day, and we have to battle and we have to talk about different things, because there's been such a long time of lying and deceiving. And you gotta understand that a lot of the concepts in the Bible have been distorted and changed so that we don't live the proper way.
All right, so I'm gonna jump to Revelation. So we're gonna talk about the sixth seal right now. I'm gonna jump to Revelation chapter 6, and I'm gonna read verse 12. And it says, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." So what is he talking? He's talking about like the coming of, of the Lord. So what he's talking about, like the great earthquake and the sun became black, is basically the sky just went black. It's just dark, and the moon became as blood. It's just giving you a description. You know, with this pertaining to the sixth seal, chapter 7, and I'm gonna read verses 9 and 10. And it says, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, with which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands." So what a lot of people get confused about, they think it's from every different nation. No, just like he talks about in Daniel 9 and 7. Just to get that one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get that confused, thinking it's different, like literally different nations and stuff like that. That's what a lot of people have to understand. That's contradictory. So what Daniel 9 and 7 says, "O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and unto all Israel, that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespasses that they have trespassed against thee. 8. O Lord, to us belong confusion of faces, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee." So what Revelation 7 and 9 is talking about, is talking about when he scattered us. So like he said, he's going to round us up from the four corners of the earth. That's what he's talking about in 7 and 9. He's not talking about any other nation, because he doesn't deal with any other nation but the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what 9 is talking about. And a lot of people get confused on that one. And 10, and it says, "And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb." So they're just giving thanks, thanks, power, praise, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Now the seventh seal, I'm going to jump to Revelations 11, and I'm going to read 15. And it says, "And the seventh angel sounded, and there was great voices in heaven, saying, The kingdoms of the world are become the kingdoms of our power and of his Hamashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever." So that's when the dominion has returned to, to the children of Israel, and the Hamashiach is leading the way. 18, "And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. And thou shouldest that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth." So what he's talking about is, just like I'm reading through 14 and 19, is talking about how the Hamashiach shall reign forever. So it's just translation of the kingdoms, and how everything is brought back to the children of Israel, and the time of judgment is at hand for the nations and the wicked 2/3. All right, so I'm gonna jump to John. What's that? Saint John.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna jump to John 17 and 15. Here we go. And it says, I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. So what he's talking about is there is no rapture, and I'm going to go more in detail when we close on it, give examples. But what he's talking about is, the throughout the Bible, you see the Most High didn't just take people out of the world before calamity started. He gave them a heads up, and protected them and led them out of the pathway of destruction. So what 17 and 15 is just talking about how, to keep them away from evil and not take them out of the world, meaning, for them to taste death, but to keep them safe and sound. But I'm gonna go more in detail on it after I let Brother Paris explain his part.
All right, and just before I get to my part, I wanted to pull another verse from 2nd Ezra 6. I'm going to start with verse 7 and end at 9. Then answered, and I said, what shall be the parting asunder of time, and what shall be the end of the first and beginning of it that followeth? And he said, from Abraham and to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So I read that just to give another pretext and another example right there that the Most High is telling you what is the sign of the time of the end and what is to proceed. And right there, that doesn't speak of no rapture, which Brother Darren will get into deeper. But it's just letting you know that's what the Most High was talking about. That would be the signs of the ending of time. And I'm gonna tap into Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware, at least any man spoil you throughout philosophy and vain deceit, after tradition of men and after rudiments of the world, and not after Christ, Yahweh. Like I said again, like you have all these false prophets, you have these people out here that are teaching the Bible that, number one, they're either not ordained to, or either they have no understanding, or
they're doing it for their own personal gain, like for money and such.
Profit. They're not really doing it for the real reason. Let me jump to 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed in thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babbling and oppositions of science and falsely so called. So again,
help them understand that word science, because a lot of people like science. What does that have to do with the word?
Well, that word science, when you really understand the real true meaning of science, you have like what you got to understand is today how they do science is everything's based off of theory in today's science. If you understand what a theory is just a hypothesis, which we know about the scientific method. It's a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a theory. It's just a guess. And what you got to understand.
Science means like to know.
Yes, to know. Science means to know. So the whole meaning of science and then the scientific theory, you understand, they contradict each other. That's how you know it's fallacy. And true science is congruent with the Bible. True science is linear with Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to go off, man. Like, real science is going to be congruent with the Bible because the Bible is the truth, the real science. Just like another false thing they tell you is that they're worried about the science of overpopulation. Well, that's false because in the Bible it tells us that Yahweh created the earth for it to house and populate many people. And that number we wouldn't know. So for people to go out here and tell you something opposite, contradicting that, to be like, well, we got to worry about overpopulation and the resources. Well, Yahweh created the science to make sure that all the plant life and all the animals produce enough for us and for them. That's how you know people just going off, man. That's how you know they're contradicting to the Bible, man. They're doing it on purpose. Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not that you be not partakers of her sins, that you receive none of her plagues." And again, this is going to our people, so called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Like, we got to come out of this wickedness. We got to come out of these church houses. We got to come out of all these places. They're teaching us off. We're going off, bro. And it's getting time, man. Like, it's not playtime anymore, man. Because what's gonna start happening is Yahweh's gonna start. He's gonna start being so courteous, and he's going to start being bloodshed. The people that's not listening, they're gonna start dropping like flies. Because right now he's being nice. He's being nice with us right now, but he's not gonna be so nice in a minute. That's gonna change really quickly. And I don't think people understand how serious it is when you get angry, man. The whole world gonna be upside down. So 2 Timothy 4:4. And they that shall return away from their ears from the truth, they should be turned into fables. So again, he's saying that people will turn away from the truth and turn into fables, turn into lies, because that's what they want to hear in Babylon. They want to hear lies. They want to get more confused because that's the energy that they push it. And I'll let Brother Darian go ahead and finish it off, and he'll give you a deeper understanding and a couple of examples of there's no such thing as rap.
Yeah, to go more into detail what you're saying about 18:4, he's basically telling you, you have to give yourself, salvation. So I'm gonna touch on Isaiah 13 real quick. Isaiah 13 and 13 through 18, and it says, "Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roll, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land." There you go. Everybody is leaving. They're fleeing. 15, "Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword." So he's letting you know, hey, if you don't get out of here and flee, then everyone who's still found here is going to get thrust through and killed with the sword, right? So, and then 16 and 18, 16 says, "Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, and their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children." So what he's talking about is, hey, if you don't leave, then you're gonna get dashed to pieces. Your house is gonna be ravished, just straight chaos. When he's talking about the Medes, he's talking about the Iranians. We got a brother in Austin that did a great video on Isaiah 13. We'll probably put it in the description so people can go more to get more detail on that one. But that's just to back up what you're saying. Jeremiah 14, 13 through 16. And it says, "Then said I, Lord Yahweh, behold, the prophets say unto them, Ye shall not see the sword, neither shall ye have famine, but I will give you assured peace in this place. Then Yahweh said unto me, The prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught in the deceit of their heart. Therefore thus saith Yahweh, concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not, yet they say, Sword and famine shall not be in this land. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. And the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness upon them." So what he's talking about is how a lot of people, not just religious individuals and those false prophets that's teaching that, a lot of people think that this pandemic is just going to roll over. Like, no, this is the end. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of prophets that like, oh, we're gonna pray that Corona ends and basically that everything gets back to normal. Well, he's telling you, no, that's not going to happen. I told you these plagues will come about. And if you haven't seen our videos, we did a chapter breakdown of 2nd Esdras 15 and 16, which is on our YouTube, talking about more in detail about the famine and the destruction that's to come upon Babylon in the latter days, aka America. So he's letting you know, hey, those false prophets that was telling them, the same thing they told you that's not gonna come upon, they're gonna die by that. And if you keep listening to them and getting reassured of their words, then you're gonna get cast out into the streets. and you're going to die by the same thing, and nobody's going to be able to, redeem you, and your body's going to be like dongs on the street. Those the daily consequences when people keep listening, they keep getting comfortable in these things and these lies that these pastors keep telling them. Those are the daily consequences that he told Jeremiah about the grievous famine. But to touch on more about instances and examples of how he didn't just swoop up the righteous and save them. You can use Noah when he told him to build an ark. Guard. So these famines are going to catch a lot of people off guard, just like the coming of the Hamas catch a lot of people off guard. So it gave him the tools to prepare. Same thing with Daniel and his friends when they got tossed into the furnace. He didn't take them. He protected them from the wickedness that came about when Nebuchadnezzar, threw them in the fire. Same thing with Lot. He didn't just swoop Lot. No, the angel told him, "Hey, I'm gonna wait till you get out of the village of the town to for safety." And he said, "Don't turn around," but he gave him a warning. Same thing with Daniel in the lion's den. He didn't just come in there and swoop and take him out of there. No, he protected him. So it's a lot of things. I could throw out many verses to go more in detail about it, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. But that's why he tells you wisdom and stability will be, that's going to be your main foundation in the end times, roughly paraphrase. So that's what's going to save you in the time, because you're being vigilant, you're understanding the signs, you're understanding the word, and when it's time to move. Just like he talked, just like Brother Paris read in Matthew 24, before he talks about the abomination of desolations. That's definitely one people have to pay attention to, the abomination of desolations. Basically, when they just start tossing people out of their houses and basically just start getting rid of things and not allowing us to celebrate our holy days and stuff like that. So to close out, I'm gonna jump to Isaiah, and I'm gonna read chapters. I'm gonna be dwelling in chapter 13, and I'm reading verses 11 through 18. And it says, "And I will punish the world for their evil, the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine more than fine gold, Salakia, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and in the day of his fierceness and anger." And I read through 14 and 18 earlier, but I'll read through it again so people can understand. "And it shall be as the chase row, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by their sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces. Before their eyes their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver as for gold. They shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children." So he's talking, what Isaiah 13 is all talking about is, Babylon will be punished. So there is no rapture. He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna save the righteous, and I'm gonna rapture them up and things like that." No, those are false ideologies that Esau Edom has brought upon them. And we're going to make this into a video, so at the end of the videos it's going to give you more details on who created these lies and nonsense. So he's letting you know, hey, just like Revelation 18:4, like Brother Paris read, you have to come out of her spiritually. You got to return to the law, statutes, and holidays, and physically you have to leave. Just like Second Ezra goes into detail, talks about you have to be pilgrims with the earth. So there's no point of staying there, because the Medes, aka the Iranians, which are going to come from the north, so if people try to flee to the north, that's not going to help them. You just got to get out of there in general. Just get out of there, because once you're in there, you're stuck. If you want to go more in detail on it, Second Ezra 15, we did a breakdown on it. We
Mm-hmm.
tell you, you try to escape at that time, he's going to just bring you back into Babylon because, you don't want to keep spreading that wickedness. So you're not going to get away from this destruction. So you need to pay attention to the signs. You need to understand what's going on and be vigilant and aware, just like Noah and Lot was. But before we close out, you got anything to say, Paris?
No, sir.
All right, so before we close out, we want to give all praises, power, glory, and thanks to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, the prophets, the apostles, the wise men, our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are out here pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and freedom to do so. To them we say Shalom. Kwam
Shalom.
Yasharallah.